If you're 30 and still renting, you're not irresponsible, you're not lazy. You were outpriced. While you were working harder, the economy was moving faster. Your parents bought homes on one income. You need two, and even that might not be enough. This isn't bad luck. It's a structural shift, a silent war you weren't warned about, and almost nobody is explaining it honestly. So let's do that, because what comes next isn't theory, it's reality. For 50 years, the path was simple. Graduate, get a job, save, buy a house. It wasn't a dream, it was normal. In 1980, the average home cost about 2 to 3 times the average annual income. Today, in many cities, it's 6, 8, even 10 times income. That's not inflation, that's separation. Imagine training your whole life to jump 6 feet. Then one day the bar moves to 12, and they say just work harder. It's not effort that changed, it's distance. And distance is everything. The system shifted while you were busy surviving, and most people still think they can outrun it. They can't. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Home prices didn't just rise, they exploded, faster than wages. Since 1970, U.S. home prices increased roughly 1,600%. Income? About 800%. That gap? That's where ownership disappeared. You're not crazy for feeling behind. The numbers actually broke. Then interest rates entered the picture. When rates rise, monthly payments explode. A $400,000 house at 3% feels possible. At 7%, it feels suffocating. Same house, different reality. Your parents didn't time the market perfectly. They lived in a cheaper system. You live in a leveraged one, a system designed to reward capital, not labor. But price isn't the real story. Ownership is.
There are now two groups, owners and non-owners. When money's printed into the economy, it doesn't land evenly. It flows into assets first, stocks, real estate, private equity, land. And the people who already own assets get richer automatically, while everyone else watches prices rise. This is asset inflation, and it changed everything. Person A buys a home at 25. Person B rents and saves aggressively. Over 10 years, housing doubles. Person A gains $200,000 in equity. Person B saves $60,000 in cash. Who moved ahead? Not because of discipline, because of positioning. Ownership compounds, savings struggle. And here's the twist. You're not just competing against families anymore. You're competing against capital. Institutional investors, corporations, hedge funds. In some markets, they bought nearly 1 in 5 homes. You're saving $500 a month. They're deploying $500 million. That's not a fair fight. That's a scale difference. And scale wins every single time. We were taught, save money, avoid risk, be responsible. But saving alone doesn't win asset races because saving is defensive. Ownership is offensive. If housing rises 6 to 8% per year and your cash earns 1 to 2, you're not catching up. You're losing, slowly, quietly, consistently. This is why so many 30-year-olds feel stuck, doing everything right and still falling behind. Because the rules changed, but the advice didn't. Because nobody teaches you the invisible math of wealth anymore. The old path was linear: work, save, buy. The new path is exponential: work, invest, grow, buy. And exponential growth feels slow until it isn't. 2 people invest $500 per month. One keeps it in cash, one earns 8%. After 10 years, cash, $60,000. Invested, $90,000. After 20, cash, $120,000. Invested, nearly $300,000.
Same effort, different curve. The early years feel pointless, but compounding doesn't reward emotion, it rewards consistency. Your job is not your wealth builder, your assets are. Your job is fuel, assets are leverage. Without leverage, you run forever. Here's the trap nobody talks about: lifestyle inflation.
You get a raise, you upgrade your car, upgrade your apartment, upgrade your vacations, but you don't upgrade your ownership. So your financial position stays the same, just at a higher cost level. Comfort increases, control doesn't. And comfort without control is fragile. That's why even high earners feel stuck, because income without asset conversion leaks. Assets capture value, income spends it, and if you're not careful, it all vanishes. So what actually works now? 3 shifts. First, increase income aggressively early, not casually, aggressively. Small raises won't close a massive housing gap, big skill jumps might. Second, convert income into assets automatically, every month, no emotion, no hesitation, because consistency compounds faster than effort alone. Third, delay visible upgrades. Drive the paid-off car, stay in the smaller apartment longer, invest the difference. Every delayed upgrade increases leverage, and leverage is what closes the gap. Most people won't do this.
Not because they can't, because results are delayed. Humans crave immediate reward, which is why ownership isn't disappearing. It's concentrating into the hands of disciplined asset builders. That's the uncomfortable reality. Stop asking, when will houses become affordable again? Start asking, how do I become financially stronger than the market? Because timing markets is fragile. Building leverage is powerful. The goal isn't just the down payment. The goal is positioning. When you're strong, options appear. When you're weak, you wait. And waiting in an inflationary asset economy usually makes things worse. Yes, housing is harder. Yes, the system changed. Yes, it feels unfair. But complaining doesn't create ownership. Positioning does. The future won't belong to the hardest worker. It will belong to the best adapter. You don't need perfect timing. You need momentum. You don't need overnight wealth. You need consistent leverage. Once assets start working for you, everything accelerates. Slowly at first, then suddenly. And here's the part most people miss. You don't need to become rich. You don't need to beat the market. You just need to stop being crushed by it. You don't need perfection. You need direction. Because once your money starts working harder than you do, pressure turns into momentum, fear turns into clarity, and confusion turns into control. And that's when everything changes. Not overnight, not magically, but inevitably. If you're 30 and still renting, you're not behind. You're early, in the exponential phase. But only if you shift. Because home ownership isn't disappearing, it's concentrating. And the difference between renters forever and future owners isn't luck, it's positioning. The rules changed, quietly, but completely. Now you have 2 options. Keep playing the old game, or adapt to the new one. Because in this economy, saving feels safe, but leverage builds ownership, and ownership builds freedom. The real question isn't, can I afford a house today? It's, am I building the strength to make it inevitable? That's the shift. That's the new reality. And the earlier you understand it, the further ahead you'll be.